A gruesome crime took place in Ustka in Poland. An officer of the State Protection Service killed his 4-year-old daughter and wounded his son, wife and parents-in-law with a knife while off duty. The incident took place yesterday evening. Neighbours heard the children screaming and crying and called the police. The suspect, Piotr K., aged 44, is now in a hospital in Pomerania and is to be questioned and charged on Wednesday. This tragedy raises questions about the management of Polish services. This is not the only recent tragedy to occur within the ranks of the services. The Pomeranian police reported the tragedy in Ustka this morning. On Monday at around 9:30 p.m, police received a report of a disturbance in an apartment in Ustka. The officers who arrived at the scene overpowered an aggressive 44-year-old man who had wounded 5 members of his family and himself with a knife. Despite prolonged resuscitation efforts, a 4-year-old girl could not be saved. The injured were taken to hospital. The attacker was detained and, accompanied by police officers, was also taken to hospital. As determined by the police, he is a State Protection Service officer. Proceedings are continuing under the prosecutor's supervision. The police were called by neighbours after hearing children screaming and crying. We've known each other for so many years. We've been living together in this neighbourhood, in this apartment building since 1966. They were a quiet family, always together with their grandchildren. We used to go mushroom picking in the forest with them. The attacker's wife and mother-in-law are in hospital. The lives of Piotr K.'s father-in-law and son are no longer in danger. The State Protection Service officer has been serving in the formation for 23 years. At the beginning of October 2025, he underwent periodic examinations, including psychological tests, and was cleared for further service. The Ministry of Internal Affairs and Administration reports that the officer served in Warsaw, but at the same time gave assurances that he was not directly involved in protecting the most important people in the country. According to media reports, he was responsible for pyrotechnic security. The tragedy occurred when the 44-year-old was on vacation with his family, spending the holidays with his in-laws. He has already been suspended. The procedure to expel him from the services has been initiated. Piotr K. is to be questioned on Wednesday and hear the charges against him. He is currently in a Pomeranian hospital. State protection services are being involved in political struggles. The politicization results in a disastrous personnel policy. A week ago, the commander of the State Protection Service, General Radosław Jaworski, was suspended. A few days ago, at the request of the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Administration, a meeting was held between President Karol Nawrocki and Minister Marcin Kierwiński regarding the situation in the State Protection Service. In this formation, the President's consent is required to change the position of commander. President Nawrocki did not agree to dismiss General Radosław Jaworski from this position. The suspension of the head of the State Protection Service is a decision of the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Administration, which does not require the President's consent. In this situation, Minister M. Kierwiński assumes full responsibility for the functioning of the formation and the security of the most important people in the country. In short, Minister Kierwiński, who belongs to the European-aligned Donald Tusk government coalition, wanted to dismiss the commander of the State Protection Service and to replace him with someone more politically aligned, but was legally unable to do so. He'd need the president's signature, but President Karol Nawrocki does not approve of his plans, so Kierwiński does all he can, initiating disciplinary proceedings against General Jaworski, sending him on vacation and on sick leave. As TVN24 has established, there was a rebellion within the State Protection Service. Several directors sent a letter to the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Administration demanding the return of General Jaworski to service. The services subordinate to Minister Kierwiński are in obvious crisis, and we hear about various incidents all the time. Many issues await clarification. In December 2023, a 23-year-old man returned from the police station in Wołomin with a black eye, scraped knees and cigarette burns on his head. He claimed that the police had beaten him. The man died several hours later. Also in December 2023, a 54-year-old man died in custody in Helm, despite having been examined by a doctor in the emergency room. He was issued a certificate stating that there were no contraindications to his stay in a room intended for detainees. It is hardly surprising that there is a sense of complacency in the services. These officers are effectively immune from punishment because they know nothing will happen to them. On 3rd of January this year, a supervisor raped a young woman at the Warsaw Police Prevention Department in Piaseczno. In addition, there were a number of negligence and inaction on the part of officers. The public only learned about everything thanks to reports from the opposition-aligned TV station TV Republika. In November and December, police officers were arrested at the district police headquarters in Gniezno. The case concerned drugs. Methamphetamine was found on the 3rd of November in the apartment of an officer from Gniezno. She had been serving in the traffic department for 3 years. In mid-December, a police officer from the district police headquarters in Gniezno was caught by methadone. He had been in the service for 6 years. There was also a scandal in Szczecin. While off duty, the drunk head of one of the departments of the Szczecin police allegedly accosted participants at a New Year's Eve party, grabbed the woman accompanying him, and finally got into a fist fight. The officer was suspended. From the information I am receiving, it appears that under the leadership of Marcin Kierwiński, the uniformed services, both the police and the State Protection Service, are in disarray. There is a lot of information that has not been disclosed, which points to large-scale pathology, management errors, politicization, and the lack of control over the services by the Minister of Internal Affairs and Administration have tragic consequences.